All right, so we have one more company in this block. That company is EverlyWell. Presenting for EverlyWell are Julia Cheek and Dr. Murdoch Kalegi.
All right. Hi, I'm Julia Cheek, and this is Dr. Murdoch Kalegi, and we are transforming the consumer lab testing experience with EverlyWell. I'm normally a really energetic person, and I found myself suffering from chronic fatigue and a bunch of other symptoms. I spent a lot of time in rooms like this, going to a lot of appointments, and I had a lot of tests run. I spent over $2,000 in out-of-pocket lab bills. All I got were 20 pieces of paper that looked like this. I thought that there had to be a better way. The broken healthcare system and rising out-of-pocket costs are forcing consumers to have to be more proactive with their health decisions. Deductibles have increased 70% in just 6 years. These forces have given rise to a $250 billion consumer-driven health industry, everything from telemedicine apps to wearable technologies to direct-to-consumer genetic tests. However, direct-to-consumer testing for health and wellness labs has been virtually untouched in this revolution. And that is why we created EverlyWell. EverlyWell provides convenient, at-home health tests with results you can actually understand. I'm going to show you how it works. Meet Amanda. Amanda's profile is based off of several of our early customers. She has 3 kids, no time for appointments, and she's wary of a lot of unexpected costs. She feels terrible, she wakes up tired every morning, and she wants to figure out what's going on. Let's switch to the demo. Amanda navigates to our test menu page. We have 8 test kits available that study key, well-evidenced lab markers, everything from food sensitivity to women's hormones and fertility, through blood, saliva, or urine, all collected at home. We have the ability to expand to over 100 tests with our current infrastructure. I could speak at length here on regulatory compliance. I'll summarize with this. We are compliant in the 46 states where we operate with direct-to-consumer testing regulations, and all of our partner labs are fully CLIA certified, proven reference laboratories that conduct third-party independent validation testing. These tests have been run thousands of times and are as accurate as a test your doctor would order. Amanda decides to order 2 kits, our food sensitivity test and our sleep and stress panel. Can we switch to the camera shot, please? When she gets her kits in the mail, she's able to get an easy step-by-step instruction guide, which tells her to collect a saliva sample for the sleep and stress panel. She then returns the samples for both kits in the mail, and in about 5 business days, receives her results via email and logs into her secure EverlyWell account. Let's switch back to the demo, please. Amanda can see immediately that she has her results ready and clicks into her food sensitivity results. She can filter by reactivity and sees that she's highly reactive to egg yolk and cow's milk. She clicks into cow's milk, learns more about her specific levels, and a suggested trial elimination plan that she can follow. She can also share her results on social media, print, email, PDF, however she chooses. We never share her data. She then goes into her sleep and stress results. She can see almost immediately that her cortisol levels, instead of decreasing throughout the day, as they should, they actually increase and remain high. Using the evidence-based information provided by EverlyWell, she's able to cut out caffeine, change her exercise habits to the morning, and eliminate nighttime screen time. Let's go back to the slides. Though the consumer experience is simple, we have built a custom platform to make this happen. When Amanda placed her order, a lab requisition was generated, which was then authorized by our virtual physician network. We then fulfill the kit and manage logistics among our 4 partner labs and thousands of customers. When the results are received, we translate largely unstandardized HL7 information across multiple labs, markers, and tests into the dashboard and results that you saw today. We sell our kits online from $79 to $399. These costs are actually lower by test than out-of-pocket or not covered cost per test, and often the same or lower than insurance. In the next 12 months, we'll be establishing insurance contracts, striking partnerships with corporate wellness companies, and also rolling out telemedicine partnerships. EverlyWell is based in Austin, Texas. We launched in beta just 90 days ago. In that time, we have over 1,500 paying beta customers in 45 states. 15% of those customers purchase multiple kits, and 10% of anyone referred to our platform by a customer buys a kit. We are really proud of our early beta traction, but our vision is much larger. In the same way that at-home consumer-ordered pregnancy tests, HIV tests, and genetic tests went from non-existent to ubiquitous, so too will health and wellness testing. EverlyWell is here to change that. Your test, your time, your terms. Thank you very much. We're displaying our public launch, and you can visit everlywell.com/disrupt for a special offer. Thank you.
All right, good job, judges.
Thank you.
All right, so can you walk me through the blood testing part? Because the rest of it I can see people willingly doing, but how do they do the blood test?
Absolutely. So the blood test is a finger prick capillary test. It is with a lancet. From the consumer perspective, when we launched the beta product, we did a significant amount of user testing, both on the specific lancet type and on the step-by-step instructions. I will be honest with you that when we launched, I thought it would be a bigger issue than it has been. We have had fewer than 0.05% of our consumers have issues with the blood draw, and we have over 1,500 paying consumers at this point. Now, from a scientific side, these are well-proven markers that have been validated through this type of finger prick testing. So we cannot do every marker, and we don't claim to. That technology will continue to evolve. We do markers that we know work.
So, heavy metals and cholesterol you can do with a fingerprint? Because I thought for those you need a phlebotomy draw.
You do not. Go ahead, Murdoch.
So you can use dried blood spot for cholesterol and many other markers related to cholesterol, specifically HDL, LDL, triglycerides, and it's been proven quite accurate. In fact, in some ways, there's some advantages because you can more directly measure certain types of cholesterol with dried blood spot, which it's actually harder with a blood draw to directly measure. Like right now, when you get your cholesterol check, they directly measure some components, but other components they calculate from those initial components. We directly measure the amount of cholesterol.
Susan?
Yeah, so how do you imagine working with the medical community, and how doctors feel about it, but then also if you get the test back and then you have more questions about it, or interpreting the results, how are you going to recommend for your clients to do that?
Certainly. So we always recommend sharing the results with their primary physician. And as a practicing physician, I can say, I'm already brought health data all the time. People are bringing me their sleep tracking and activity tracking, and more recently, genetic data. What we're trying to do is really fill in the gaps that right now exists within that data by adding to the quality and depth of it.
Okay, and then do you bank the samples so that if I give you a saliva sample, I don't actually have to send in another one if it's a saliva-based test, for example, or same with blood?
So one advantage of our types of samples is they do last longer than traditional blood tubes, but it's not interminable. There is a finite amount of time that they can be held on to.
We're not currently storing the samples at the lab.
You're not going to
store? We're not currently doing that.
Okay, because that would be an easy way for someone to buy another one.
Sure.
Do you have any data on how many of these tests actually get repeated? Let's say I find a problem, I go to my physician, and they want to run all these tests over again, and I'm back to going to the lab anyway. So it just, are you tracking the data on how much data happens? If that happens, it almost feels like it's an extra step, because I should have gone to the lab to begin with. I think it seems like there's a hump you have to get over.
Sure. So in our consumer experience, when people get their results, just to clarify the physician interaction there, a board-certified physician has reviewed and notified the customer of critical values. And then from there, I would say probably 10 to 15% have followed up with their physicians, although we always encourage them to share their results. And of those 10 to 15%, I don't have specific data, but anecdotally, many have found that their physicians, they know these labs. These labs, other customer base, are physicians and hospitals. And so many don't rerun the markers. They will if it's necessary for, say there's been a time period that has passed, or another thing that they feel they need to analyze. I do think that this is evolving. I wouldn't say that this is going to be accepted by 100% of the healthcare community today, but we have gotten very strong positive reception from many physicians who think that customers can improve their health when they're not seeing them by being able to get this feedback loop of data.
So just to be clear, you're not doing the test yourself, you're working with outside labs to do that.
Correct. So we work with 4 fully certified partner laboratories today. There's probably 20 to 25 labs in the US that can conduct this type of sample testing that are certified. They are very transparent with their validation and accuracy data. Many of them have actually been around for decades. And we are really the consumer brand and arm for them, not conducting or creating new technologies or tests at this point.
And have you thought about the retail distribution partnerships? I think Walgreens might be looking for a new partner.
Yes, we've talked to them. So we are really excited about multiple different distribution channels, retail being one of them. You may have seen that 23andMe has recently launched in, I think, CVS and Target, and so we're looking forward to establishing similar relationships with our test kits. We think it could be a great scale distribution channel for us, and we've worked out the management of logistics and fulfillment and the margins to where we believe we can support that strategy.
Given these aren't your tests, what is your defensibility?
Great question. So in the competitive landscape, the only companies doing direct-to-consumer testing are linked with one lab and provide a very set number of tests that are not done at home. We have a platform where we actually believe we're creating an Amazon-style platform where we can have dozens of labs, hundreds of tests, and actually be a hub for at-home lab testing for millions of consumers. And while we don't have necessarily, could someone go out and build this? Yes. We've had to create all of these custom integrations with, frankly, very outdated lab language and technologies that we've built custom for each lab and our physician network to be able to be sure that we're providing the accurate translation of the data to our consumers. And so that would be quite a difficult rebuild as well. Yeah. And then we also feel that the enterprise partnerships, which we're fairly late stage in on several right now, will provide additional defensibility.
How did you pick the list of tests, and what criteria did you use to prioritize those versus others?
Sure. So I'll take this from the consumer perspective first, and then Murdoch can jump in. I was looking for a service that could be provided to women and then their decision-making for families. So women make 80% of the healthcare decisions that would have high consumer interest, but also be really helpful in helping to improve health. So I took it from that perspective, and then Murdoch and I would work with the labs and with our medical staff to say, which of these actually can we do, and which of these can actually help improve health.
And from a medical standpoint, our focus was what tests could only be better for customers? What could only add value? When people check their cholesterol, that can only be a good thing for them. When people know their hormone levels, that can only be a good thing for them. And so we really focused on tests where there's only positive benefits.
In the case that you had, the user study that you had, Amanda, right, who was tired.
Yes.
So you have a client who comes, they're tired. There could be many reasons why a patient is tired, especially as you expand to even more tests. How is Amanda supposed to know which of the tests would be most appropriate for her, and just make sure that she's not spending a lot of money on tests that are just not going to give her the right set of information?
Sure. So while we do ultimately leave that up to the consumer to make the choice, we do provide very detailed product pages, and we've done a significant amount of user testing on the type of information provided and the ease for the consumer to understand what the test is measuring and who it should be for. So that's everything from age, collection type, markers that are tested, all the way to if you are experiencing these symptoms, this may be something you should consider. We also have product reviews on all of our product pages, and just a lot of, I think, helpful information following best practices for e-commerce that help people to make that choice.
So I understand I'm totally one of your customers. Like I have a phlebotomist who comes to my home. I mean, I'm a little crazy. But talk about convenience over price. Like some people have HMOs, they go to Kaiser, it's free for them to get all these tests. I'm sure there's some extreme where they're wanting to test their hormones every week and maybe they wouldn't cover that. But who are these people that want the convenience over price?
And I actually, from our beta customer list, would tell you that I don't think the decision choice has been convenience over price, which is what was in my initial hypothesis. So 85% of our customers are women. That is spread out in the 45 states I mentioned. There's not one single state where there's more than 15% of our customer base. And these customers are your average American, generally aged 35 to 44. And they are referring their friends. Our Facebook ads have generally gone viral for each of our tests, and that is how we're getting our customers. And the customer feedback has been that this is significantly cheaper for these customers than any other way that they're able to obtain these tests. They do love the convenience, and they do love the control and the access, but the pricing has been very competitive when they actually try to go have this testing done otherwise. I think it comes from having to pay a doctor copay, a lab copay, and then often getting bills later that they didn't expect that altogether make up an aggregate amount that is not transparent and often more. That being said, we know that we need to establish insurance relationships, and we're working on that. We'll have an eligible API integration for consumers to check coverage before the end of the year, and then we'll be establishing individual payer contracts over the next 6 to 9 months.
So why do you think it's 85% women? What is it about your product that attracts a more female audience than a male audience? And do you think over time it will move to being 50-50?
I would say I'm not sure it's actually the product. I think that it is our marketing strategy and the fact that I targeted women because I saw my friend group and my family, and I felt like this was something that they needed and wanted and didn't have access to, and women have a network effect of passing this on through word of mouth. One of the reasons our customer acquisition cost has been so low for a new product is because of our customer referral metrics. That's who's buying the kit. We have people whose families buy, their husbands buy, their partners, and I think that that has been really the behavior that we expected from women as the decision maker and the consumer spending power. Obviously, we have kits like our fertility kit that is targeted at women, but the rest are really not. It's more of a family brand.
Okay. Cool. I think we're out of time, so give it up for EverlyWell.
Thank you.
All right, and that is the end of the first half of the finals. The judges and I are going to go backstage. We're going to go drink some Red Bull. We'll be back in just a few minutes.